Oh, I think I was early.
All right. Well, no, we're on time.
Okay. There you go.
So
Welcome to
imagine
Gord
that.
Ox Pub. We're on time.
Right. Where it's not closing time, it's opening time.
Yeah, there you go.
Drink all you want because you're at home.
Yeah.
you don't have you don't have to stay here.
Ugh. Yeah, I tell you what, I've seen thumbnails of that Brandon Sanderson class, and I started watching the first video, but I have not had the time. I suppose I could have watched it Thursday when I was just sitting in the hospital, bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
That is the worst combination to be tired, bored,
Yes. Yes.
and need to stay awake.
And concerned with
Yeah,
tired, bored, and or anxious. You
yeah.
know.
That was not a fun day. Plus, oh my gosh. So we ended up leaving here about 4 a.m. And
Just a second.
okay,
Before you tell your story, I just want to tell people what's going on today. I was going to start working on page 10, but we haven't actually come to a complete agreement on what's in page 10. So I'm going to do a pinup instead, but it's going to be Mastiff. I haven't drawn him standing up, like just him standing up. So
his back hurts.
I felt like I would do a power pose, and that might be a good solution. Anyway, so you're telling the story.
Yeah, so Thursday morning, like Wednesday night, we had thunderstorms. And then it froze.
Ooh.
And then it was foggy. So I almost canceled the surgery because when I opened up the back door to go out to warm up the car, I mean, everything had a thick layer of ice on it. And I was like, if the roads are like this, I'm not going. And luckily the roads weren't so bad, but I literally could not, like, there's a big windmill farm between here and Indy. And, normally you can see those lights blinking for miles. I never saw one at all, and I was driving right past them. I could not. The fog was so terrible. Oh
Ugh.
gosh! And I'm worried about being late, and I'm worried about how bad the roads are. Because I'm like, what if there's slick again? Let's go
You didn't leave
inside.
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Wow. You hear him?
No.
You got to get over here to.
上杆，我老上杆，给我
You got to talking to this.
5 all day, 5 burger.
He's saying that mom cooked the burger and set the fire alarm off.
Oh.
He just, I guess, had to tell you that.
Well, exciting moments in culinary history.
Well, it shouldn't be because that I shouldn't be giving this out online, but she does it all the time. It's almost guaranteed if she's cooking burgers, the fire alarm's going off. She should probably open the back door and turn on the fan before she starts cooking burgers.
Yeah, but it's cold.
What's that?
It's cold.
Yeah, but she does it after the fire alarm goes off, so
Oh.
it's just a preemptive strike, that's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, so not to interrupt you, but he was trying to talk to you, so
No, that's fine. Okay. No, there it goes. All right. I tried to have a little bit while you were getting blurry. So.
Oh, that's probably because my hand was the camera was having a hard time trying to decide what to focus on.
Oh, I get it. I'm just saying you had kind of settled in, and it was just sitting there, and I was waiting for it. I gotta wait a little bit. I know it doesn't come out.
Let's see. start with some common sense.
Oh, should be watching comments, not the assets. Anyway, so I thought about, so you know how I'm making these vocabulary videos, and like I got videos over grammar and stuff, like basically Schoolhouse Rocks via AI, and I was trying to get some images, and I screenshot some of the stuff because the vocabulary list is not mine. Like it was a list that I had found as a teacher, and on this particular list, you got oppress, you got rebellious, and scorn. Those are three of the words that are on this particular list. And all right, whatever. So I'm going through and I've made lyrics for one of them that are pretty centrist in my view. Pretty, it's easy. But I was looking for images for it, using AI to make the images, because that way I don't have to worry about copyright necessarily. And again, it's for education, and I'm not making any money off this. And I asked for a picture of a busker at a Black Lives or a BLM rally. That's what I said. And no problem, popped right up. I asked for a busker at a MAGA rally. It refused. And I was like, that kind of tells you right there, kind of one of the problems that we have is that, that here you have the movement coined by the sitting president who won the popular vote. And that's problematic for this company. But Black Lives Matter, which,
was proven a fraud.
Yeah. But that's okay. It's stupid. Because one of the things, I do try to get pretty inclusive with all my images. I either don't use humans at all, or if I'm using humans, I try to get an African American version, an Asian version, a Hispanic version, Native American version, just things that are going to visually read. I don't get too specific, like Vietnamese versus Korean or something, because I'm just like, yeah, I don't think you're going to just be able to tell that specifically, but it's still sometimes kind of hard to get it to, like, it likes to limit certain fields of discussion. I tried to get images for one of the videos, and I kind of wanted this kind of ethereal, flowy like thing, and I wanted the woman's face covered because it was, I forget what word it's for, but I was kind of going for like this spy vibe, and it would not cover up a woman's face. It was very weird. Like, I was trying to go all kinds of different ways that you could possibly ask for it, and it just, even if you start getting into stuff about like burqas and stuff, it just wouldn't do it. Just no. And I thought that was very strange. That,
yeah, it pretty much is very strange, I think.
Yeah. One of the songs that I've made, which hasn't, it's like scheduled to come out tomorrow on my channel. It's kind of a dig at all the people who are supported by media and government and all the corporate interests and all that kind of stuff, and how they're rebellion. They're rebelling against the system that they are fully funded by and supported by. Uh, so I thought about using some of those screen captures in that video, but then I thought it would. The video is pretty centrist originally, so I thought, that kind of I think pushes it one way or the other. Not a sponsor, but could be.
Unless we could come up with a reason for this to be page 10.
As a power pose, that's a little
Yeah,
hard.
right, right. That was the joke.
Yeah, I figured. But I tried for a moment. I was like, let me think. Nope. Uh,
Hmm.
what? For the record, in case you want to know, your camera moved. Oh, hey, but then it went back.
Ironically, I didn't even hit the adjustment. I just lowered the screen too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking for a reference for something.
Where you go?
Oh, and you know, when you're
What?
looking for something, it never comes up as fast as you want to
Of course not.
do. Oh, you'd think it'd be a lot easier. I have thousands of reference photos, and I'm not really trying to find something crazy, just
Get down.
Your camera's adjusting itself again.
Oh. Did it fix itself?
Well, now it's blurred, but yeah.
Yeah. But I thought all I did was graze over the thing.
Interesting. The two viewers are like, no, it's not. No, that was not.
Yeah. I'll pretend I'm left-hand drawing. Oh. Oh. This is so fucking ridiculous.
Okay.
It is. You can't see the behind the scenes, but I don't want you to see the behind the scenes because it's so fucking ridiculous.
Okay. I'll believe you.
There we go.
No. No.
I don't even know if you'd see the thumb from that angle.
You want me to hold my arm up? Yeah, I can model.
How do you want this guy to look?
Uh,
Yeah, I really kind of want to try the cartoon more to see what I can get out of it by cartooning more. Did you watch that? Did you have a chance?
oh my god, I could have done that on Thursday and I did not. Sorry, I've been.
No, your mind's been elsewhere, and uh,
Yeah, I just.
that's
I
that's
know.
not a big deal at all in the grand scheme of things.
I could have watched that on Thursday. Now I'm just kicking myself for all that time. I mean, just literally sitting there. Just, okay.
That's what I'm
I probably
saying, man.
was
Like
crazy.
you had other things on your mind, way more important things.
Yeah. Still.
I just didn't know how, like, I didn't know how long you'd been back or what you did while you were out there or whatever. So I
Oh,
just
God.
asked.
That was like. It was over 12 hours that we were gone. And it was just. A lot of sitting around. What really I thought was funny was Thaddeus had no concept of how much time he had been out. None.
Yeah.
And 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 when he got back to the room, he was still like the nurse asked him, "Do you want something to drink?" He's like, "Yeah." She's like, "You want like a Powerade?" He's like, "Yeah, Powerade." And then she brought it, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't want it." And so he set it off to the side, and then she starts talking. Then he goes, "Can I get something to drink?" She's like, yeah, I brought you a Powerade. And he's like, where is it? He was so out of it. He had no idea. Like, it was literally right next to him. He had no recollection of the conversation that we had like 30 seconds before. And when he finally became lucid enough, he's like, oh, what time is it? Like 10:30? I was like, no, it's closer to 4. Ah, he had no. He's like, no. Oh, like I'm not joking, kid. And then he felt guilty for making us wait that long. I was like, I would rather they take their time. Thank you very much.
It's all your fault. Oh,
Yeah, he internalizes a lot of that stuff, and it's just kind of, no kid, it's worth it.
we've been so sarcastic with our kids most of our lives that now they can't give us a straight answer. So, like, my natural inclination is to go to being facetious.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad he's all right. Anyway,
yeah,
hopefully, hopefully it did take. Like especially if you have to wait and see.
yeah.
I didn't know how much of that you'd want to talk about live, so
It's not that big of an issue. He went
well, I mean,
outpatient heart surgery. And,
right, not a big issue, nothing.
I'll just anyway. No, and I thought the doctor was cool because technically, like, we would never have known. He could have been like, "Well, we think we got it. We won't know for a few days." And when it comes back, like, "Oh, well, golly." I mean, this guy was just blunt. He was like, I think I bumped it, and that was it, and it turned it off, and I don't think it was enough to actually do a full ablation, and so therefore, he thinks it's going to return." Your camera just adjusted, by the way.
Every fucking time, it's ridiculous. Let's see if I can get it to adjust again.
Yep.
It's so fucking stupid. All I did was just lower the screen and mouse over the camera
Who knows?
adjustment. Keep going back and forth because I've made yeesh. All right, I guess I'm just gonna play with it some because every time I try to focus on a reference, Don't like this fit. Well, I guess it's not as bad as Liefeld Superman, right? There's that.
I thought it was a Captain America.
Oh yeah. Well, Liefeld did Superman too. He called him Supreme.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was Captain America. You're right. That's how bad I tried to blot it out of my memory. So really weird. I the challenge of the week for the
Yeah.
David Finch fan server was Red Skull because we've been doing a few villains, I guess, trying to give the bad guys some time. And I did Red Skull, and then excuse me, and of course that's going to do that. Okay. And Oversteer, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Nope. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so Oversteer said he just watched Captain America, like the first Captain America.
Yeah.
And then we got into a discussion about Captain America, and I was like, it's too bad that Hugo Weaving said that he was done with the character because they could have done a lot more with the Red Skull.
Yeah.
And then, so the conversation popped up of what could be done with the Red Skull, and I was like, I didn't think he died at the end, so I had to go back and watch it again last night. He did not die at the end. He just kind of teleported out because he touched the Tesseract.
Right.
Um,
Because he shows up again in Avengers.
in Endgame, yeah. Like, but I didn't know that because I didn't watch that. Either that or I didn't see that part because it didn't register. So anyway, like, I'm just saying they could have done a lot more with the Red Skull than they did, and he's really the major Captain America bad guy. I mean, as far as Captain America's archenemy. And he was for a long time. So for them to just end him with one movie kind of felt like they shortchanged us a little bit on the Red Skull.
Yeah.
And Hugo Weaving, because I really like Hugo Weaving as an actor. I would have liked to have seen more. So, like, I watched Captain America: The First Avenger last night, and then I watched the Brandon Sanderson #3, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he used Captain America as an example. So,
Oh, yeah.
like, it wasn't like an in-depth example, but it was just weird that there was a trifecta of Captain America stuff going on.
Huh. Must be in the zeitgeist. Did you see the trailer for the Fantastic Four yet?
Well, no.
Okay.
Well, like, it's available, like,
No.
it's on my my timeline. I've seen it a few times. I haven't actually watched it. Oh no, I watched part of it. And did I watch the whole thing? That's pretty sad. If either I can't tell or I don't care. But I noticed that they were using like retroactive looking cars and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. That doesn't really work with the rest of what they're showing for the city and stuff, so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm very nonplussed about the whole thing. I just was like, all right, it's a thing. And
The guy that's playing the Thing is
Well,
the guy that played that's the guy that played Microchip in The Punisher in Netflix. who there's nothing about him that says Thing to me. Nothing. Like, so when I picture Thing's voice, it's much more of a like Ving Rhames kind of a deep voice. So that guy just doesn't have that kind of voice to me. So
I don't know. I don't know if Fantastic Four was really the nut they needed to try to crack.
yeah, I don't know.
I still find it. I mean, I don't know. I just give us a freaking X-Men movie. We'll be happy. It's like they've had that property for how many years, and they're just like, we'll just slightly tease.
Because they haven't
any cameos.
They haven't really cared enough to do it right. And I think that's a big issue, is that like if they could show that they cared about it, but it seems like every time they do it, it's kind of tongue in cheek, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they never take it as serious as they should. It's the same thing with like tellings of Beowulf. I mean, the only telling of Beowulf that you have that doesn't kind of feel half-assed is, well, no, there's Beowulf and Grendel, but then there's 13th Warrior.
Right.
Beowulf and Grendel's all right, but it was so low budget, nobody really saw it, and that's too bad because it's got Gerard Butler and Stellan Skarsgård. Around the same time they released the one with Angelina Jolie and
the animated thing?
Ray Wincott, but that wasn't really all that good. It didn't feel like they were taking it any more serious than they had done in the past, at least to me. So, but it's the same thing with the Fantastic Four. Every time they get someone that either feels right for one character or a possibility, then they kind of just blow it. Like they get the Thing right one time, or the costume for the Thing right one time, and then they blow it on somebody else, or they get Mr. Fantastic right on one time, you know. And I don't think they've got Sue Storm right ever, and I don't think that's different in this one, because what I've seen wasn't impressed. I did see, now that I think about it, I think I did see the whole thing, but it was set up to look like it was a retro 60s kind of thing, and I don't think that bodes well for the crowd that's here. I mean, nobody's going to see comic movies because they want to see retro 60s. I think that they didn't recognize, but they should, that was a failure, part of one of the failures to the whole Wonder Woman 1980, whatever the hell it was.
Oh, that movie was terrible.
Yeah, but nobody wanted to see that go retro. You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck about the 80s, right? Like unless it's a little bit in the 80s and then it comes to now. It's a little bit different with Captain America, but it ended in the current day. You know what I mean?
Well,
I don't know.
There were just so many issues. I mean, it was just poorly done. That Wonder Woman 1984, it looked cheap. The storyline was kind of dumb.
Yeah, I didn't bother.
It is garbage on so many levels, and I mean, I don't know. I think '80s have a certain nostalgia value with, that's why they Star Wars and Skeleton Crew to be kind of like the Goonies in space.
Yeah, but that's not.
Stranger Things is set in the '80s. Uh,
Stranger Things got away with it, but Stranger Things wasn't wasn't a superhero movie.
yeah, I get
It
that.
basically was set up like it was a Dungeons and Dragons movie. Basically. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be a superhero movie. Like you're not gonna buy into that superhero. That's what I think the problem is. Nobody wants to see that. And I think also that there's a big degree of burnout with people watching superhero movies. I'm gonna get a drink. I'll be right back.
All right. See, that was when I was going to play that commercial.
See, the odd trick I figured out is if I use my scroll pad
Yeah.
instead of using my mouse, like the mouse pad that's built into the laptop,
Yeah.
it doesn't do that shrink thing. But the minute I put my hand on the mouse,
Doesn't like your mouse.
it doesn't like Ether Mouse. This is a brand new one.
Yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't like the mouse in general.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The mouse pad is fine, but tell me, does the arms look not quite right?
The left arm, which is our right, does not look right.
Well, I think that one looks big. This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one looks big. And that's what I was asking about, whether or not, because that, actually, I wonder how far that is. Yeah, that's a little bit. So, just trying to get them spatially correct. Huh?
I said, all right.
I really think I should move on to the head, but I can't move on to the head until I know that the arms are right.
Makes sense.
I don't think they're all that far off, but this one was looking kind of thin to me. And I wanted to make sure it wasn't just me.
Okay.
Does that look more even? This one actually should be flexible. Yeah, they're pretty close. Pretty close. All right. I'm happier with that.
That's good.
Well, you think this maybe will be a poster or a what you call that, a perk when we do the crowdfunding.
Right.
Could be a print, or you could, buy it outright or whatever. Yeah, this stuff still has to be filled with shadow yet. Where the shadow is going to be. All right. I want like some blood splatter and stuff up there, so. Let's see.
𝕄𝔸𝕊𝔋𝕶𝕀𝔽𝔽. 𝕄𝔸𝕊𝔋𝕶𝕀𝔽𝔽.
Did you see? There's a rumor that Elon Musk has purchased $40 million of ad space during the Super Bowl to release the findings of Doge.
Okay.
Well,
I love.
they're trying to stop him from getting the information out. They're trying to stop him from investigating, which,
Right.
if you're not guilty of shit, why are you trying to stop him? Like, he's not doing anything with social security numbers and all that bullshit, except for investigating how the money is going. And if you're afraid of him finding out where the money is going, well, then that's a whole different issue, isn't it?
Yeah, I find it interesting just how much the government's trying to protect the deep state. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised by the fact that they're trying to protect the deep state, but it's kind of blunt and obvious when you say you're not allowed to look for fraud in the government because you might find fraud. And if you find fraud in the government, well, that'll make the government look bad. It's like, what?
Or it's like what I hear is he can't see the numbers because we didn't elect him. Like, really? Did we elect all the people in the Treasury Department?
Oh, I know.
Did we
All the
elect
people
all
that
the
were hired, no, we elected the president. The president, all of those people have their authority derives from the president.
right?
So I don't understand. Well, I guess I don't know about the Treasury Department. I don't know if the Treasury Department falls under
Yep.
congressional.
Executive.
Yeah.
It's executive.
Okay. Well, if it's under the executive branch, then yeah, I'm kind of hard to understand what a judge has authority for it. Like, no, that's how we want to run things, and unless you can tell me what part of the Constitution we're violating.
Right. It's that the whole system of checks and balances is out the window when they decide that they can create positions for the executive branch that the executive branch can hire and fire without their permission.
Right.
Well, that's not the executive branch. You're Congress. You got to make up your mind. You want to be Congress or you want to be the president? Because if you want to be the president, then we need to vote your ass in.
I just some of the stuff that people are getting so upset about, and it's like, well,
they're getting upset
like-
because their shit's getting uncovered and given to the public. They don't get
well,
a
I
chance.
know.
They don't get a chance to bribe somebody or try to alternately influence. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's
it's like,
what they're really getting upset about.
well,
They have no fucking recourse but to deal with it.
when like people are upset about getting rid of the Department of Education, we're going to defund education and blah blah blah, and it's like, well, first off, how much of the Department of Education money never saw a student ever?
Right, and it's not defunding education; it's defunding the Department of Education,
which was
is
never
not the
legal.
same.
I'm sorry, or at least was never constitutional to begin with, ever.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but for me, what people don't want are unelected bureaucrats who have some elitist mindset from in some city far, far away, deciding this is the way. Because public school is for indoctrination. Public school is for propaganda. It is one of the main functions, and all public school is like that. It is built into the system. It is meant to be in the system. It is a good thing that it is part of the system, because you want a culture to pass on its values, and therefore you need education. But that's that culture's values, and I'm sorry, but my small town Indiana values aren't necessarily reflected in Washington, D.C. bureaucrat mindsets that want men in dresses and can't figure out what a woman is.
Yeah, I don't agree with the indoctrination anyway.
100% is. I'm telling you right now.
No. I'm not disputing that there is. I just say I don't agree with it being necessary.
It is 100%. The other reason why people don't like the word indoctrination, you can gussy it up in all kinds of other terms, but in the grand scheme of things, you are indoctrinating the next set of people to have a certain value system. And how broad or narrow of a value system, that's up for determination, or you can discuss that. But you are going to indoctrinate people in some way, shape, or form. And I have no problems with that. If you want to sit there and say, I want to indoctrinate people to understand that free speech is critical and important, we'll do that. If you want to say we want to indoctrinate people to say that we should have representative democracies and not dictatorships, I'm for that. There's a lot of stuff people are for that they want passed down, that they want pushed in schools. And there's more that people want commonly pushed, but you get these political factions, and the right will do it and the left will do it. But the left has done it more recently and more egregiously when they try to put men in women's sports and deny girls opportunities and deny them the chance to earn scholarships. That's something that I think that we can argue. There's a huge portion of the population that doesn't agree with that. And a federal government agency can push that with very little accountability, because California and New York have way more sway on a federal institution than what my local people have. And if California wants to teach that men and women are interchangeable and that women don't deserve protected status and things like sports, I don't live in California for a reason, but I should be able to have the public schools around here pushing a more sane approach. And when we let the states decide what that is, and you narrow because I guarantee Illinois is run by, it's Chicago voters. It's all Chicago. So Chicago gets to decide what the rest of the state learns and how it learns and everything else. Whereas for us, it's more Indianapolis for the most part, but it's not as bad. And there's a huge difference between Illinois schools and Indiana schools. So we can vote in people easier at a state level and have more control. And I have no problem with that. And, the whole idea that the states are, basically little laboratories, and you can try to, see if that works over there, but over here, we're not going to try that. We're going to try this. That's built into the system, and it's how it should be. So I don't think anyone sane is going to say that we shouldn't fund education.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's being said at all anyway.
No, but that's what's being pushed.
That's the faulty argument. Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm saying that if you look at what the Democrats, I get a lot of stuff from the teachers union, which is just a political arm of the Democratic Party, and they're pushing all this stuff about how he's going to defund education and all this stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, I don't think that's true at all. I think that's the boogeyman you guys are creating to get people scared.
That's a fallacy.
Plus, for teachers, if you're willing to move, that means instead of having one basic federal system, you've got 50 different states you can choose from. that opens up, you can figure out which market suits you best and aim for it. I'm not buying the fear mongering, especially when it comes from people, like when they're all upset about RFK and stuff. It's like, oh gosh, because your science that has pushed all kinds of bad, unhealthy things on Americans that you're only, recently starting to slightly acknowledge. Like, how many years did we have a food pyramid that was killing us? It's dumb.
I like how you speak in past tense.
Well, it's less dumb than what it was, but it's still clinging to a lot of that. And I'm not going to talk about the vaccines. I'm not going to talk about the vaccines. I won't even talk about the mountains of evidence about the vaccines. Because ultimately there are plenty of vaccines I fully support and made sure my children had, and but I'm an anti-vaxxer because there was one that was never tested well that I decided not to do. Because it's really hard for you to tell me there will be no long-term side effects, but it hasn't been a long-term.
Right. And there's proving to be short-term side effects.
And there are, and more long-term side effects are coming about. And golly, how many times do you have to be lied to and have the evidence presented to your face before you stop believing these fools?
Yeah, I don't get it. That's one thing that's really hard for me to deal with, is when people are defending this shit as if it hasn't been exposed to their fucking face. It's like if I pick up a sign and I show you, this is a powerful guy. No, it's not. And then I tell you no, it's not, and you buy the no, it's not. What?
Yeah. Oh yeah, just like
I don't understand it at all.
Did you post the stuff about? I saw recently someone did a nice little
Probably.
supercut of Fauci saying, he's once you have the vax, you're done. It's good.
Yeah.
And then it was him saying, well, you need the boosters. And then it was, oh, I've been vaxxed and boosted, and golly, I've still gotten the disease. It's like, so here is it, guy is, he was wrong. He was either lying or
he was lying. He knew it.
Well,
because there's audio of him saying he knew it. That's why there needed to be a pardon, because he already knew. Nobody was confused about it. He knew.
So it's just one of those things. It's like, I don't understand why you would defend saying this guy knows what he's talking about when he's already shown himself to be. It's like the people who believe environmentalists who make these claims that are always wrong. They've never gotten one right, and yet it's like,
well, they keep
what's the evidence that says you're ever going to be right?
They keep making the claim it's wrong, and then they change the term, so it's not global warming anymore. It's climate change. Well, fucking climate's changed 4 times a year. The fuck are you talking about? It's really weather changing, but they're claiming it's climate changing. Like, all of a sudden you don't move south and it's snowing. The north didn't all of a sudden become a desert. It's not fucking climate change. It's just another fucking
truth of an inconvenient truth was that it was all BS.
Yeah.
And yet still they try to think that they have the moral high ground to tell us what to do. So, how many times are you going to be wrong and expect me to listen to you?
Well, how many times are you going to expect me to listen to you is all it comes down to for me.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be wrong a lot. But I'm not going to listen to them a lot. Because they don't care. They don't care about being right. Is the actual gist of it, though.
No, they care about controlling your actions.
Yes, they care about control. That's it. That's like that post that did you see the post I did with Politico or no, not Politico, Washington Post?
What about it?
I'll shrink this picture for a second.
Oh, now you've shrunk the whole thing.
That's what I meant. Like, I'm going to move my mouse is basically what I was saying.
Okay.
I'll do this. Hopefully that'll fix it. Okay. So. Oh, and I posted a more extensive list, actually, of what Doge has found and exposed. But I'm sure nobody's surprised by that. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm gonna open this in a new tab so that I can share it on screen. Did you disappear?
Just a little bit.
Okay, share screen.
How dare they curtail government's power and reach?
Yeah,
Well,
right. The most
out loud.
the most damaging first 2 weeks is them shrinking government,
Right.
which
How
is
dare you?
trying to control us.
Right.
It's just because you brought it up.
No, that's fine. No, I've that's just like once. Okay, so they set up this evaluation system and all this stuff, and you had to have goals and blah blah blah. And the way it was done, counselors had to have goals too. Like teachers could use student data and stuff, and it was relatively easy. And then I found out what some of the counselors' goals were. And some of them were to increase the number of students that were doing Play-Doh classes, which are classes designed, they're all on the computer. There are no teachers involved, other than some guy watching over the room. And I was like, why is someone trying to get people on this? Why is that a goal? Like, how is that not a problem? Like the computer thing should be something we do as a matter of last, like Hail Mary trying to get a kid through. But no, they were trying to increase it. And I was just like, what? Do you guys ever just look at the whole picture, or do you guys, it's short-term convenience, long-term pain? And it's just, that's the rule of a lot of people. Drives me up the wall. Well, it's like I've got a student. So, one of those like I do audio of the reading assignments that I do now. And since it's Black History Month, I started doing some, figures or African American figures of note. And the first one I did was Dr. Ben Carson. Cool. And
he should be on the list.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy's done some amazing things.
Yeah, first guy to work on conjoined fetuses in the womb. Yeah.
And so I write this thing up, I make the video, blah blah blah, and this kid was upset because he was part of Trump's first cabinet. And she's like, I hate Trump. I hate everything about Trump. Now, I know this kid's mom. I've known her mom for a long time. And her mom is a waitress. She also works for the school, but she waitresses too. And I was like, well, won't your family directly benefit from no taxes on tips, which was Trump's plan? Well, I guess, but everything else he does is terrible. I'm like, I think that maybe um, when your family starts bringing home more money, that you might want to reevaluate how bad of a leader he is. I was like, if you don't bring home more money, you are correct. But, it's like you need to learn to take in information, even if it goes against your confirmation bias. Like you got to really start looking at stuff. And again, it depends on where you get your information from. Some of the stuff, like what you were just showing, it's just they make it
that's
seem
the
like
Washington Post too.
yeah.
They make it seem like it's a bad thing to not have government fucking in everything you're doing.
Well, when they start taking away U.S. aid, and when I found out that we were paying the BBC, why are we paying anything for the BBC? The BBC is not pro-American. The BBC is not our news. So why?
Yeah.
Like, I can understand if you're giving money to some state broadcasting thing in some country you're trying to influence, but it's Britain. Like, what do you need our money for? And you're not listening to us anyways. I think we have a snowball's chance in hell of influencing the British government to do anything the British government doesn't already want to do.
Yeah, or anything that's decent.
So why were we giving them money? And that's one of those things I just don't understand with people who are upset by this. It's like, if we are finding places, I mean, Rand Paul's been trying to do, I think it's him, yeah. He's been trying to do this forever and has brought up all kinds of stupid programs we waste money on. So, it's like people don't get upset enough. Just see what kind of, like, my biggest thing is I gambled a little bit with Biden, because when Biden got elected, I decided to get my master's degree because I figured, this knucklehead's going to sit there and do student loan forgiveness and it's going to suck for the whole country, but I might as well get mine while I can, right? And that's like the one thing he couldn't get through. And I'm like, yeah, we always have money. We can find as much money as we want to for Ukraine, but we can't do that for American citizens. And that's the thing that...
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say the Ukraine thing. They're proving that money didn't all go to Ukraine. They didn't use it.
Right. It's like, we seem to have a lot of money to spend all around the world. Why is it not being spent here?
Yeah, right, because it's being spent all around the world.
I mean, I guess it's being spent here for people who aren't actually legally allowed to be here, supposedly.
Yeah, it's spent on people around the world, some of them that are here.
Yeah, they help them show
they're
up.
from around the world, though.
And that's just it's like, I'm sorry, you get
Again.
your own house in order first before you start saying that, you're going to help everyone else build theirs. You put the mask on yourself before you put the mask on your kid when the airplane is crashing down.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So, I don't know if I can. So, things that Doge has uncovered.
Yeah.
7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists how to avoid binary gendered language.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with advancing America's interests.
Nope, not at all.
$20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq.
Uh-huh.
Over 4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan.
Well, by disinformation, they just mean get information they don't approve of.
Right.
Because they don't mind. They will push out disinformation all day long. And they did it. And they keep getting caught doing it. And yet they still act like they're the arbiters of what is disinformation, misinformation, and I think those are the other categories.
1.5 million for art for inclusion of people with disabilities.
Okay.
2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala.
Yeah, so we don't need to be funding that.
That has nothing to do with our interests. $6 million to transform digital spaces to reflect feminist democratic principles.
Yep, don't care.
2.1 million to help BBC value the diversity of Libyan society. What?
Yeah, that doesn't.
10 million worth of USAID funded meals, which went to Al Qaeda linked terrorist groups. 25 million to OITE to promote green transportation in the country of Georgia.
Yeah.
2.5 million to promote inclusion in Vietnam. 5 million to Eco Health Alliance, one of the key NGOs funding the bat virus research at the Wuhan lab. You know, that escaped and caused COVID.
Right.
Or was let out, or whatever.
Yeah.
20 million for a group related to a key player in the Russiagate impeachment hoax. 1.1 million for Armenian LGBT group. 1.2 million to help African Methodist Episcopal Church Service and Development Agency in Washington, D.C. build a state-of-the-art 440-seat auditorium.
Why?
I don't know, because separation of church and state?
Yeah, like I'm a Christian. I would still say the government shouldn't be building our churches.
1.5 million to promote LGBT advocacy in Jamaica. 2 million to promote it in equality through entrepreneurship in LGBTQ in Latin America.
I want to know how many other countries have these kinds of stupid, like, programs in other countries to push agendas for a small minority of people from that country. And this all has a very liberal bent to it, and it's all stuff it's all this stuff in foreign countries that I don't care about.
Right?
Like, why are you taking my money to fund this?
$500,000 to solve sectarian violence in Israel 10 days before the Hamas October 7 attacks.
You know, that was one of the things because somebody was complaining about. You know, they cut off aid that was giving condoms to people in Gaza. And, you know, how irresponsible that kind of, cutting that kind of funding off is. And someone else was like, yeah, they use them for balloons to help drop ordnance on people.
Right.
And it's like, do you want to fund that? It's like before, and some of the stuff, it's like, this is the problem with ever trying to limit government. As soon as you try to cut off anything, the sky's falling, nothing. Oh my God, it's going to ruin everything. If I don't get my money to fund my study on the sex habits of gay Pyrenees and their cat lovers, then, oh my God, it's tyranny. It's absolute fascism, because I didn't get my little pet project. And then people, they blow it up like it's, oh, we're going to cut Medicare and Medicaid and yeah, we're going to close schools and all this. It's like, no, we're not doing that. Like, no one is going to be doing that. And what's annoying is that the left likes to accuse the right of supposedly terrible things, and then the right just go, yeah, we're not doing that. Yeah, we're not doing that. Not doing that. That's not happening. Hey, that's not happening. And then when the right will accuse the left of doing something. The left, we're not doing that. But then it turns out that the left is doing that. Almost invariably. They go through that
usually they're projecting what they're doing anyway.
Yeah. But they're really just going through and, you know, that's insane. That would never happen. Oh, that's insane. That would never happen. No, it's insane. Well, okay, but it's really not that big of a problem. Like, it doesn't happen that much.
Right.
Right. Oh, it happens a lot, but it really, everyone already knew it was happening. It's no big deal. It's like,
right. What difference does it make now?
Yeah. What difference does it make now? Yeah.
Nah. Okay, so the last few is 2.3 million for artisanal and small-scale gold mining in the Amazon. 3.9 million for LGBTQ causes, quote unquote, in the Western Balkans. 5.5 million for LGBTQ activism in Uganda.
Yeah, that's important.
6 million for advancing LGBTQ issues in, quote, priority countries around the world, which apparently all the ones that were listed before weren't priority countries.
Of course not.
6.3 million for men who have sex with men in South America. 8.3 million.
To have sex with men?
Apparently. 8.3 million for USAID education, equity, and inclusion.
Right.
So yeah, that's the money that we've discovered that they've discovered that we spent. But then they're mad at them for discovering that they spent it.
Right.
Like they're not the people aren't. I don't know how. This is the thing I don't understand. How is it that they're not upset about this shit? Like, how is it that they're not, like, they've been fucking us over for... Huh?
Because their team was doing it.
Well, yeah, but they're fucking them over.
I
like,
agree.
Their team is fucking them over. Like,
but it's their team. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. I am positive they would accuse the right of doing the same thing. You know, they say that Donald Trump is going to, screw us over and blah, blah, blah. And we will blissfully vote for him because we're blind and stupid and can't figure it out. So both sides say the same thing about each other. I'm waiting to see my pocketbook. Like, I remember the pocketbook under Donald Trump. Things were going well up until COVID. It was great. Whoa! Your is crazy. Oh, God. You need to turn your mic down.
I can't change the volume on my mic.
I'm just telling you. It's way too sensitive.
Yeah, I didn't change anything. I just went and read that and came back.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. So it's 2 hours into it. And that's exactly when it started happening, right?
Yeah.
The mic is fine, so.
Yeah, now it is.
Now it's fine?
Yeah.
What about now?
Yeah, you sounded a little close, but...
All I did was turn my head.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on where... It just sounds like your mic is too sensitive.
Yeah, I didn't change anything. Literally, this has been the same way. It's been set up the whole time. So when you're saying that it's doing all kinds of sensitive shit,
Oh yeah.
this is turned all the way down on the microphone. Again. Let's see. Yep. It's not even, yeah, it's registering high now when I'm looking at it, but when I registered it at the beginning, it didn't. So I'm going to do the back out and come back in thing.
Okay. And he's back. Guess who's back? Okay. Okay. You gonna say something?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I had to turn my mic back up
Huh.
because I went out and it was barely registering. So I came back in and I'm still only on the first notch on the volume.
Huh. All right. I'm going to go fetch myself something to drink. I will be right back. And I'm back. Oh, I hate running upstairs. By the way, Rich, you're on mute. So if you have been elucidating on anything, no one knows.
No, I just muted because Eli was just getting loud.
Okay. Well, I just know I've had whole conversations, then realized I was muted. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I intentionally muted because he's being loud.
Oh.
And I'm never sure how loud he is.
Well, you can hear him, but I can't understand him, so.
Right, but you shouldn't be able to hear him
Oh.
because he's yelling at Cap or some inanity. Big snowstorm coming.
When?
Midnight.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, that's what they say.
I don't know if we're supposed to get anything at all.
Well, you were supposed to get some yesterday.
I thought it was funny this morning. My wife and I drove to McDonald's. And, whatever. We park at the house. When we get back to the house, whatever. And the other car never moved. And then it rained, and then it froze. And the car we had driven was still nice and clear, but the car that had sat there was just a complete sheet of ice. And that's the one that I have to take to work tomorrow. And I was like, or Monday.
Right,
But still, I was like, oh, of course, my car is the one that. But my car doesn't have the driver's side window doesn't like to come back up if you put it down, and it's a 40-year-old car. I'm not going to mess with it, so I just use other cars to go through the drive-thrus. I always find it weird and trippy when, like, I was talking to this guy. I had to get a battery for the car. And so there was this old guy at the parts store. You know, the type of guy that just has been breathing cars since forever. And he's like, what do you got? Does it still have the rubber bumpers? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh. And to me, it's a brown box. Okay. I don't know. It's got some stuff in it that would have been cool for the time. Don't get me wrong. But, it's 40 years old. And it's not like when my dad bought an Avanti and it had a whole bunch of cool stuff that was cool for the time. And it was still cool. Plus, it was a sports car. Or I had my Datsun. It was a sports car. I had never even seen a straight six. So I was like, oh, hey, that's cool. But a Buick Park Avenue just doesn't do it for me. Although it is a comfy drive. I have to admit that. It is one of the most comfortable drives. It is like driving your sofa to work.
Driving your sofa to work.
Oh, man. It's just so laid back and soft. It's just super comfortable. My son's car, is a Ford Focus. That's the one my brother-in-law gave him.
Yeah, we have a nickname for them.
Well, I'm sure I could guess. But man, it's for me. It's what I'm like. Oh yeah, I can get into this car real soon. Like the height at the door is just lovely, and you know, I'm only 6'2". I don't consider that to be monstrous. Well, okay, but I tend to be one of the taller people, but I am hardly ever the tallest. And man, just being able to not have to scrunch up so tiny to get into a door is kind of nice. Like I don't bend that well, so the Ford Focus I've
That's
been
only
rather
going to
pleased
get
with.
worse.
Oh, I'm sure. That's why I was like, it's kind of nice.
That's what you've got to look forward to. Because you don't bend well now.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Sonata, I don't do too bad on the driver's side, but man, on the passenger side, I'm like, oh, just trying to get in. I don't know if it's the way I sit down or what. Well, some of them, it doesn't fit very well. But the Ford Focus does very much. That was one of those things I noticed when I was in New York, was how small people were there. I was like, what the hell? Like, occasionally I would see like some gigantic basketball playing person, but more often than not, like,
From somewhere else.
yeah. But I just was amazed at how tiny some of these people, these fully grown adults, and I'm not talking like they were like dwarves or little people or whatever you want to call them. I'm talking they were straight up normal adults. They were so tiny. And I was thinking, I wonder if that's from malnutrition. Like they just never got, like, you know, if you don't get fed enough while you're going through puberty, you don't grow as much. I have no idea, but I was astounded.
No, that's not it.
Okay.
Because I'm from New Jersey and I'm short, and I'm not malnourished.
Oh, I don't know what it was. I just thought it was weird.
No one would ever call me malnourished.
Well, I don't even. I really. I mean, I can remember I was at this party once at a friend's house where, as an adult, and this friend is taller than me, and his family was there, and they were all taller than me, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, I am the shortest male in this house, and I am not taller than all the women. Like I was just, it's like, what kind of freak giant show did I find up in? It's kind of strange for me to be that much smaller than people. That's actually one of my biggest issues with teaching in the middle school now. Like, I just forget how short they are. And like one of my earlier lessons, we were talking about the plot diagram, and Jenga is a really good 3D representation of a plot diagram. And I like playing it. Just, I mean, that's why I have a set, is to teach that lesson. And I wanted to make sure it was relatively easy for students to play, and so I put it on. We have this charging cart for their iPads, and I put it on top of that, thinking, well, that's about chest height. That'll be good. Well, chest height on me is a little too high for some. Like once you get to the top layer of Jenga, was almost too high for some of my students, and I had to bring it down to a desk. I was like, oh. It's just one of those things where I just not used to teaching diminutive students, or at least that diminutive. I don't want to call them short, just, you know, they're 12 and 13. they'll grow.
So, your definition of short is depending on whether or not they're going to grow?
Well, I'm
Short
just
is
saying.
short. Like, even if there's an excuse for being short, it's still
Okay,
short.
well, they're temporarily short. Some of the girls are, I'm sure, fully grown. They're about where they're going to be, but most of the boys at seventh grade, you can tell they're going to grow, and it's kind of funny. The eighth graders, some of them are getting to be just about my size. It's like, yep. But I was about my size when I was in eighth grade too. So.
I'm trying to get away with not turning the clipboard. And not taking the paper out of the clipboard. Which I probably should just not even bother trying.
Yeah, I went downstairs to get a pop, and my boys were playing on the Switch, and my younger son, the one that just had the surgery, was just laughing his freaking head off. And it was just like, I mean, it was like maniacal, evil genius laughter, which I was like, oh God, what is he thinking of now?
What has he done?
He's the one I'm worried about getting phone calls for him. Like, just some of the stuff he comes up with, I'm just like, well, okay. That's a little off, but apparently he got a weird look from his history teacher because he asked if either side used African American soldiers for nighttime raids. I was like,
Either side of what?
Of the Civil War.
There were. I don't know if you'd call them African Americans then, but there were black people in the Civil War.
I know.
Actually, that fought on both sides. There were black people that fought for the South. I don't think they did a lot of night raids though, because they were still kind of uh, they were still kind of line up and shoot at each other.
Right.
But they did some like Quantrell did some raiding. Um, and there was I can't remember his name now. There's a northern a northern raider like that as well. I don't I don't think color was a factor.
Well, I mean, I can understand the logistical question.
Yeah.
My son saw nothing wrong with it. The history teacher apparently thought it was a little off.
Well, I mean, it's an honest question. As long as it's an honest question, I've I've heard people say that dumb question, dumb question. To me, if you don't know the answer and you're honestly looking for an answer, it's not a dumb question.
Right.
That's it's the only kind of dumb question is one that you already know the answer to. Like if you don't know the answer to it, then it's not dumb. You're looking for an answer.
That's like I've had students get upset because somebody will ask me something that I've just already told the class, like literally like 30 seconds earlier. I have explained this, and somebody will ask exactly what I've explained, and some of the kids get upset, and I'm like, well, at least this guy's trying to get his work done. Like, yeah, it would have been cool if he had heard it the first time, but you know what? He did it. He was open. He was honest enough to say, hey, I didn't catch that. Even if he didn't know, he didn't catch it because he didn't know it was ever said. Now he's, the guy's asking, so he should know.
It'd be cool if he listened the first time.
Yeah, but whatever. Students that are, because I've had students that are embarrassed to ask me about what website to go to, because we use the same ones every day. I mean, there's one particular website we use every single day because I'm the one that set it up. And by the way, it's Moodle. Anyone knows? I'm not saying exactly what mine is. It's just that's the product. It's the learning management system. I love Moodle. I think it's great. But I've had people who have been doing nothing, and they finally ask, "Well, I don't know what the website is." And even though it's posted in my classroom, even though I've used Google Classroom to push it out to everyone, even though we go on there every single day, I don't get upset because I figure the kid is trying to get work done. Sounds like a plan. Like I used to get pissy about it because they should know this, but okay, they should know it. That doesn't help them, doesn't fix the problem. Might as well just get over the whole they should know and address the issue and move forward. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, when kids just don't know something and the teacher gets upset because they should know it by now, it's like, well, they don't know it. They don't know it by now. So just start from wherever you are. Don't get upset about it.
Right. Why did you go suddenly quiet? I thought you were filling space, and I could go look for a reference for one particular thing, and then you're gone. All of a sudden, it's quiet.
It's the end of my statement. Did you watch that video that I posted in Slack?
I'm not sure. What video did you post in Slack?
The commercial for Jocasta's cookies.
I don't
I asked you if we should run ads, and you said that they'll pay you.
Oh, well, I didn't watch. No, I didn't watch it. I saw you asked if we wanted to run ads, and I thought that you were asking me if we wanted to run ads, not that particular ad.
I started to, yeah, it's Just one of my little goals now is to make different ads.
Yeah, I didn't get that out of it when I read it. Now that you've asked me, now I have to watch it to know, but I don't want to run ads on anything unless we get something out of those ads, because
No, that was just
quite literally, I'm kind of tired of doing stuff and nobody helping out or recompensing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like even like in my shops, I've had people that were piercers and whatever that I bring in for my customers so that they have the availability of getting pierced, and never, nobody's paying any of the bills, and nobody's paying me any of the money.
Right.
So I basically have someone there that I'm paying rent for them and paying for them their spaces and not getting anything out of it. Well, I don't want to do that for anybody anymore.
Yep.
I've done that quite a lot, and it doesn't seem like anyone ever bothers doing anything to help out. So I kind of just don't want to. But if they want to give us a little bit, even a little bit, makes it worth it, right?
Right.
Anything that helps us. Not that, yeah, I'm not opposed to it though. Just somebody gonna have to help out. I'm not paying for everything for everybody else to get a free ride anymore. Like I'm already doing this stuff to help out people and paying. I don't want to pay for anybody's advertisements. Wow. So I figured if I can get this guy done, then can ink him. And see how those work on this.
Did I ever tell you about the time my very first live model nude drawing that I had to do?
I think you broached that subject before.
Because the first guy, or the first model was a guy who was built about like I am now. And he came out and he sat down right in front of me. And like I'm in a classroom. I just happened to have been in the right spot where he was pointing right at me the entire time. If I had been like a few desks over, I would have had to deal with that issue. But instead, there's this penis just staring at me. Oh, I didn't know if he was coming to tell you that it's almost time. He's a little early.
Yeah, he's coming to tell me something. It's almost 11:50. Well, count down the minutes until it's 11:50 now, too.
Oh, okay.
Like, why are you worried about it? We're not stopping at 11:50. Like, that's not the end timing. Well, so long as your male model didn't literally point at you.
No, he was literally pointing at me.
Wow. So you got a rise out of him.
Well, no, he was just the angle of where he was sitting says it was slightly raised.
Well, that's what I was saying by literally pointing at you. Is
Well, I'm just saying it was resting on his sack and pointed right at me. Just because he wasn't excited by it or anything, which thank God he wasn't.
well, that's what I was. No, I didn't say just he should have been. I said, well, at least he wasn't. And then you were like, well, yeah, he was.
I'm just saying he was pointing right at me.
Right, but you weren't not with his penis.
No, it was with his penis. It just wasn't stiff. It was still looking at me.
So it was looking at you, but it wasn't pointing. It wasn't like,
Okay.
you know, this isn't a point.
Well, it's more like this.
So it was peeking.
Sure. It's way more penis than I care to look at.
Like, have you no shame?
Just thinking, there's a reason I don't swing that way. Oh well.
That's the reason?
There are lots of reasons. It's one of the things when, like, I have an aunt who's gay, and I'm like, well, yeah, because it makes way more sense. Girls are way better. And, you know, it's just one of those fun little. I don't understand why women are straight. I that would never be. Uh,
You sound like you're tired or something.
eh. I thought it was funny on Thursday just how, like, when I was in college, we had there was one year we had a rule. A friend of mine and I had a rule. It was the 5 o'clock rule. At 5 a.m., you had to go to bed because we were constantly trying. These art projects that we had together were just huge, and you had to, I was taking 15 credits or whatever, and these art classes were taking up all my time, and so I would go to bed at 5 a.m. and be up at 8 for 9 o'clock classes, and I could function. I went to bed Wednesday night, I think around 10. Got up at 3:30, I think, roughly around there, and I could function. I mean, I drove down. It was probably because I was terrified. That's why I could function there. But I was paying for so Thursday was and I went to bed early Thursday, like around 10:30 or something like that. Like I was still trying to push forward, and then so from Thursday night till Saturday morning, or Thursday night to Friday morning, we're talking 9 hours of sleep, and I was just dragging all day. And I was just like, my God, my 20-year-old self is laughing at me.
Yep.
Take 2 days to recover from, still get like 4 hours of sleep or something. I was like, he's pathetic. Weak. I've got weak.
Get used to it.
I know. Yeah, so the hospital where Thaddeus had his surgery, because he's under 18 and he had to go through peds, which is funny because he's like over 6 foot.
Right.
And it was like everything that you might want as a person waiting for someone in surgery, that's going to be by door 1. But the waiting room is door 6, which they would take you by shuttle around the building. Like they would literally, you'd get in a van because it was like a 2-mile walk. And it was faster if you could weave your way through it. Like if they had someone to like escort you, they could go through and it wasn't that bad. But if you tried to go around the building, it was huge. And I was amazed at just how giant that building is.
Wait, what?
Was that him telling you that it was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cute.
No, it was him telling me he loves me more.
Oh, okay.
Which is a common argument between us. He likes to argue.
Aha.
I can just go into a room and say no, and he'll be like, yes. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock now on the dot. You've been holding your breath to say that, haven't you?
Oh my god. Oh my.
I guess I'm done for the night, but I'm gonna finish this last little bit up. I'll have a chance to find more reference before I pick it up again, but
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty happy with where it's going. I don't know, you guys can't see it all, so I'll go in close so you can.
Here, let's make it bigger. Oh yeah, I barely saw the hand. Not the fist, the hand. But yeah.
Yeah, the hand up here. But I haven't actually finished it, so it's still kind of late.
Yeah, but still. I mean, I just barely saw any of it. So, yeah.
But you know, this is the fun part anyway, so.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, I've been debating on, like, how am I going to write Mastiff behind here with his arms all like that?
Just put it behind him.
So, maybe I can just make him throwing the tail of that thingy. Instead of it just being a panel. Can have, like, him, the tail of that thingy, a little corner box with, you know, or what's his face standing over here, and
Okay.
like, no, the waste management guy, and it's a pretty cool picture. I mean, like, I got room, I could do an inset panel here too. So it's boom, boom, boom. I don't. I don't know. I like the picture, like where it's going.
Cool.
Particularly like what I've gotten achieved right through there. Yeah. All right. So, pencils down. So, anyone that likes, subscribe. Nobody spoke, so I don't have to worry about saying that. Everyone that liked, subscribed, followed. Thanks. And I think everything's on track to just go again Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
So we should be on schedule for the next one, and
Yep.
I'll probably have a little bit more for this. Maybe we'll turn this into the next page. I mean, it's got possibilities. We'll just have to truncate the page, but it's a pretty good piece of art.
I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, good night. God bless. Much love.
Peace.